Okay, so I'm doing this video as kind of like a response video to a video that Fungo did over on his channel about Bloodborne and its endings and what they mean and stuff. Because they're like some of the stuff he said like made sense a little bit, but there was other stuff that just bugged the shit out of me because like I'm always bothered by Souls theories, like the Souls series theories about them that are based off of complete nonsense. Like, there's nothing. What I mean by that is there's nothing in the game to support the theory. Like, you just made it up because you think it'd be cool. Like, Epic Name Bro did a video recently talking about how, like, the blood that you heal yourself with. And it was based on a Kotaku article, so, like, already you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they don't play video games. It is, like, it's menstrual blood. Like, period blood. Like, the blood that you're injecting yourself with is menstrual blood. And it's like, there's nothing in the game to support that idea. Like, you're just making it up. Like, what? It's the, Solaire is Gwyn's son 2.0, basically. Like, why do you think that? Because it'd be cool. Well, okay, you're dumb. There's nothing in the game. If there's no, you have to have something. You have to have something in the game, like an item description or a line of dialogue that can be interpreted, or even an interview with Miyazaki to back it up. Otherwise, you're just pulling it straight out of your ass. Oh, Manus is the furtive pygmy. Why do you think that? Because I just think it'd be cool. You're dumb. Anyway, minor tangent. Anyway, the thing that bugged me about Fungo's video was he says he makes this like his entire theory is based on the idea that the insight that you have as like a meter in game is separate from the amount of insight your character has like in story, which is just, where are you getting that idea? Like, I mean, to a certain extent I understand, because Souls games have kind of had that gameplay and story segregation in the past, like in Dark Souls, where hollowing for in terms of the story means something completely different from how it means to you as a player in gameplay. Like, when in story, when someone goes hollow, it means they've lost their mind and they're just a mindless zombie now, and then they die. And in terms of gameplay, when you as the player go hollow, it just means you have beef jerky skin and you can't do stuff online. That's it. Like, you as a player can't go hollow, but you still go hollow. Like, so in a sense, like, I think that's where he's coming from with this idea of the insight, but it just seemed like that's never how I interpreted it, I guess. So, like, what he's saying in the video is when you kill Rom, the vacuous fighter, and you absorb all of his insight into yourself, which that's not how insight works, so I don't know. Anyway, and so, like, that's why you see the pale blood sky, and that's why you can see the amidolas on the church, even though you don't have 40 in-game insight. It's because you have the vacuous swarm's insight. And that's not how I interpreted it. Because, like, I always interpreted it as, like, Rom was what was holding the pale blood sky back. You know? Like, he talks about it in his video about, William, the Bergenworth guy who's insane in his rocking chair, about how, in the lecture hall you find notes from a student of Bergenworth who figured out what you as a player figure out to get the secret ending, that you have to consume 3/3 of an umbilical cord in order to do whatever, to stop the hunt or the dream or something like that. and, and that raised like an interesting question, not a question, but an interesting like thing about Bergenworth and its descendants, because like Master William's whole thing was he wanted to find a great one. He wanted to become more than that. He wanted to become a great one himself. He lined his mind with eyes in order to achieve that. Like he wanted to be touched by the Vormons. He wanted to become a great one, but he never could. But all of his descendants managed it. Like the nightmare, like the School of Mensis looked within their own dreams and found great ones there in their nightmares, and they actually plucked a great one from the nightmare and were able to study it. That's what the brain was in the Nightmare of Mensis. Like that's like it says, this is a real, genuine article, great one, and they found it, and he has it, and they studied it, and that's the School of Mensis. And then there's the Healing Church, which the upper echelon of the Healing Church is the choir. And if you go into the orphanage, they have the Daughter of Chaos, who's also a great one, and they worship her as a goddess. So both of these descendants of Bergenworth, the School of Mensis and the Healing Church, both found great ones. Something Master Rain was never able to do. Even though like he wanted to find them so he could become one himself. And then this little chick at the lecture hall managed to become a great one by consuming 3/3 of an umbilical cord herself. And whatever encounter that led to, like in the secret ending, you consume 3/3 of an umbilical cord and then beat the moon presence, and then you become a baby great one. So maybe something similar happened with her, where she consumed 3 umbilical cords and maybe encountered a great one, perhaps the moon presence itself, and then became Vacuous Rom. Cosum. Mensis talks about him. Some say Cosum. Whatever that guy. Cos turned Rom into the Vacuous Spider. So she consumed the 3 umbilical cords, encountered Cosum, and became the spider. And she knew about the pale blood sky and the hunter's dream to a certain extent. And she knew how it related to the hunt, so she wanted to stop it. Like, that was her point. She wanted to become a great one so that she could, like, kind of stop that whole process. That's why when you kill Vacuous Rom, Murgo is unleashed, and the pale blood sky happens. Because it's not that you're seeing the world for the way it really is, it's that literally Murgo's will is being imposed on the world now. So it's not that you have a billion insight in story and can see this sky and the Amidolas. It's that, like, fucking hell has been unleashed upon the earth because you killed Vacuous Rom, because Vacuous Rom was holding that shit back, and now it's like a flood with the dam being broken. You've broken the dam that was Rom, and now this is what's happening. Theoretically, anyone could see, you know, the sky for the way it is, or the Amidolas on the cathedral ward. But everyone in town is dead. Everyone is dead. And the only people who could see those things never leave the cathedral ward. You know? Like, they could go outside and see it, but they don't, because the instant they do, they would go insane. It's like, think of it like how in the Nightmare of Mensis, when the Shoggoth, like, projects that orange glow and you start getting frenzied, that's what's happening to the NPCs. The instant they go outside, they're just being pelted with these radioactive waves of insanity, and they go insane. That's what happens to Adela. Not Adela. I forget her name. No, I think it's Adela, the nun that you meet in the unseen village. Like she goes outside and she's insane and wants to kill you. That's what happens to her. And Elaine, the crow, if you haven't been helping her with her quest line, she goes insane and tries to kill you. And no one else leaves the cathedral ward though, and the theory that Fungo states that it looks that way to you but no one else because you have all this insight doesn't make sense, because there are physical effects on the world and the people in it because of what happened. Like, Ariana gets pregnant. Yasefka gets pregnant. Like, because the Pale Blood Sky. Like, it's not you going insane and then just coincidentally they're getting pregnant. No, like, the fact that Murgo's will has been imposed upon Yharnam is causing this shit to happen. I mean, go to the Unseen Village before and after fighting Vacuous Mom, and you see what happens. There's kidnappers running around, all the gates are locked, it's relatively normal. Go there afterwards, and all the kidnappers are dead, and there's all this crazy blood magic shit happening, and the One Reborn is over there because of the Pale Blood Sky and the Great One's influence upon the world that Vacuous Rom was holding back from happening. So that was my issue with his video, where he was like pulling this, like the whole point of what he was saying was contingent on this idea that makes no sense and is not supported in game. This idea that you absorb story game insight. Like, where are you getting that? Like, oh, I killed Vacuous Rom, so now your character has all this insight and is seeing all this shit, and coincidentally people are getting pregnant and going insane, and everyone's dead, and the great old ones are being summoned upon the earth, and all that shit. And then, like, you eat 3/3 of an umbilical cord, even 4, and you just go like, whoa, so much insight, and that's why you're able to resist the moon presence, when it was set up with the very evidence that he states in a later video that someone discovered this ritual that eating the umbilical cords and encountering a Great One turns you into a Great One. Well, not specifically. It is kind of intentionally vague in that sense, but that's all. The only thing I didn't like about it was the idea of story insight and gameplay insight. Like, not that I'm saying that the in-game insight, like, I can see that the in-game insight is a complete gameplay thing that has no effect on the story. You know, like, in-universe, the insight that you have as a player doesn't, like, impact the game world in terms of the story that unfolds. What bothered me was he was saying, like, oh, you have story insight and gameplay insight, when there's nothing to suggest anything of the sort, that there's story insight, that your character knows things that you as a player don't know. That's what was weird to me. Anyway, it was a good video though. Like, just the Bloodborne is still incredibly new as a Souls game, so it hasn't really been solved yet. You know, the way Demon's Souls and even Dark Souls have been solved. Like, I still truly believe there's shit in Bloodborne that no one's found yet. Like the abandoned workshop, like, that was a big thing early on, but people found that within like a week, and now it's everywhere and everyone knows about it. But I still firmly believe there's shit in that game no one knows about yet. Like, there's a fucking secret invisible wall somewhere no one has opened up, and there's a whole area behind it with all kinds of shit. I'm waiting for that to break out, you know? So, it's gonna be really interesting seeing all these, like, storyline theory videos, like, a year from now. Because that's when this shit's really gonna start coming out. But, in terms of that, I would still suggest people, like, try to form their own opinions about it, you know? Don't just watch people's video. Don't watch Vadi Video or Epic Name Bro or Fungo and say, like, oh, that's correct. That is what it is now, and I am going to think that now. I'm like, no, play the game yourself and form your own opinion about it. Like, I'm not saying don't watch these videos and don't incorporate some of the things they say, but, like, make your own opinion about it, because that's what I try to do. I went through the game and I was like, I have my own idea for what this story is, and I know for a fact that it's different from what, say, Fungo or Vadividia's idea of the story is, based on how I interpreted certain item descriptions and in-game notes that I found. And that's what I want, that's what I think is best to do about these games, is everyone have their own idea of it. Unless it's stupid, and you're just making it up for no reason to be an asshole. But aside from that, what will your insight allow you to see?